wait a minute. We can one-up it. Why don't we take him to Mar-a-Lago?
We can. And by the way, why don't you tell him what happened when you and your husband met Trump? What did he do with Melania? That's a good story.
It's really an incredible. I'll try to do the somewhat quick version of it. It was the week of impeachment. There was 18 impeachments.
I was like, which one, Dave?
The first sham impeachment.
The original.
And remember those 2 weeks where everyone in mainstream media, the walls are closing in, Trump is freaking out. Blah, blah.
That was bad. So Mueller's got him.
The whole thing. So I was at a Turning Point USA thing in West Palm. I spoke, and then Trump announced that he was coming. So they cleared out so basically I ended up opening for him. And then
Trump,
he spoke, yeah.
Dude.
But it wasn't planned that way. It was just that he announced that he was coming out of nowhere. So I spoke, he speaks. I had never heard him speak in person before. And so already something had moved with me that morning, because when he spoke and you see him speak live and then you read the media after, you can really see the disconnect. So there's a beautiful moment in his speech where he's talking about wind power. And he's like, I know wind power more than anybody, and nobody knows more about wind than me and the turbines, and blah, blah. And he's going on, and it's so obviously a joke. It's so obviously just a punk. And I turned to David and I said to him, I guarantee you Politico is going to write a headline or that Donald Trump says he knows more about wind. And of course, 5 minutes later, the headline shows up. Anyway, we see Junior there and we become sort of friendly. He says, you want to come to dinner with Kimberly and I to Mar-a-Lago tonight? So obviously we said yes. We go in. Again, this is the height of impeachment. We're in there's 2 rooms there. We're in the smaller rooms. There's only about 20 people or so. There's Trump sitting there with Melania and Rudy Giuliani and 1 or 2 other people. And he has his shirt open, really open, no tie. So first off, you never see Trump like this, right? His jacket's kind of leaning back. He looks relaxed. His hair looked relaxed. Like he's just, and he's laughing and having a blast. And I'm just, we're not sitting at the same table, but I just kind of have my, I'm just looking, right? Anyway, at the end of dinner, Junior says, hey, you want to meet my dad? So obviously, yeah, I'd love to meet your dad. So we walk over and the president's sitting and he says, Dad, I want you to meet Dave Ruben. And he looks at me and he's sitting. So he looks up and he's like, I kind of recognize you. And I was like, oh, well, I'm on Tucker a lot, or maybe you see me on something. He goes, oh, yeah, that must be it. And then he turns to David, my husband, and he goes, well, who are you? And he goes, well, I'm his husband. And he goes, husband? That's great. You guys are gay? He goes, Melania, can you believe it? These 2 guys are gay. And then he goes, guys, let me tell you something. You know what your only problem is? You're too handsome. Both of you guys are too handsome. Yeah, that's what he said. And then Melania, she's kind of points, she's with a friend. She's kind of pointing at David. So David walks around the table to talk to Melania. And then it's me, Junior, and Trump. And then somebody grabbed Junior. So now it's just me and Trump. And this is also, so it's impeachment, and it's also right when Bloomberg got in the race.
Yeah.
So I had this moment alone with Trump. I'm like, I got to say something that says, something. So I was like, Mr. President, I just got to tell you my crazy theory. And my theory is that the machine wants Biden because it's just a vestige of the old thing, but they know he can't survive in the debates because he's so bad. So Bloomberg is in basically as a decoy, which I really believe is what happened. They threw him in. It was never real, but they needed, because Biden was still leading, they needed all the energy. Remember those 2 debates with Bloomberg? It was only about him. Biden barely spoke because they knew he would break down under attacks. So I tell him this. I said, it's a complete decoy. Bloomberg's not running. It's all about Biden. And he's like this. He's like, that's something. That's something. And then he goes, and this also really changed me on Trump. He reaches across the table and he puts his hand on Melania, like very gingerly, softly, puts his hand on Melania and he goes, honey, listen to this. And he said it lovingly, right? And the meme is that they hate each other, or she's a kept.
She slapped
whatever.
his hand that one time. They played it a million times.
I'm telling you, he did it in the way a husband that loves his wife would touch her hand. And then he called her honey. So the way he did that. So he has me repeat what I said to him, to her, and I say it, and she kind of nods, and then he goes, nah, he just hates me, talking about Bloomberg, meaning that's why he got it. He just hates me. But the thing that moved me more than the gay thing or that silly story is that he loves his wife. It was very obvious that I told him something interesting, and his first inclination was to tell his wife. Yeah. What does that tell you about the guy?
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I've heard him a few times at Mar-a-Lago, and I got to tell you, the guy could have been a comedian if you wanted.
He's a stand-up. He's a stand-up.
He could have been, because there's no cameras. He gets up, and it's 90 minutes, no script, no nothing, and half the time you're laughing with jokes. And obviously, he's trolling. I think he's going to go all time as the greatest troller of all time. I think he has the gold medal for it. I think he owes the Guinness Book of World Record for it. I don't think anyone's going to come close to him as a troll. He's in a league of his own. But what's so impressive about the whole situation is the fact that he's about to get impeached a second time. Biden could potentially win, and he's just having a good time.
I'm telling you,
He's
if you
living
see
his
this
life.
guy,
Yeah.
shirt open like this, there was something, it was just like, that also was when I was just like, all of media, it broke down a lot of things for me, that he loves his wife, he didn't care about gays, that the media is just so dishonest. It wasn't just the Wind Power article that I knew was going to come. It was just, he's freaking out. He's in his inner sanctum with his, and it was like, no, he isn't. He's sitting there laughing his ass off. They just lie about
They really don't like this guy too much. There's
an understatement.
But here's going back to it. Here's the thing: the bench is deep on the right. The bench is not deep on the left. Even if I ask you right now who, you couldn't come up with 5 names on the left. Booker, not going to happen.
Nope.
Pete, Beto, who do you got?
No, they'll make
Kamala?
it be Pete. They'll make it be Pete. That's the one that they'll move on.
They'll make it be Pete.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Gavin.
Gavin is going to be there. There's no
Gavin.
question Gavin's going to be there. Gavin's going to be there, no question. Do you have any stars you're excited about outside of Manchin? Because he's not going to run. He's not going to run. Cinema's not going to run.
And you don't think Manchin would run?
If Manchin ran, he would never get the support from the left. Tulsi Gabbard would never get the
true.
support from the left. So,
Well, because you need to rally your base, right? And who's the Democratic base right now? It's a lot of the AOC crowd, the Bernie crowd. But that's not who the true Democratic voter is. Like they're the loudest people in the room, the 10% on that side. Mm-hmm. Just like the
Do you like
loudest.
Do you like Tulsi? I'm guessing you probably like Tulsi.
I mean, I don't follow her well enough to be like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the fact that she challenges the establishment.
Yeah, she's a good woman. We've become friendly. She's a good woman. I can't. I mean, I say this to her privately all the time, but it's like, how are you a Democrat still? It just doesn't make sense.
What does she say to
when
that?
does she move into Florida, by the way? I mean, how can she stay in Hawaii?
She loves Hawaii.
Yeah.
She loves
you're
the
in touch with
waves.
Tulsi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we go back and forth. Her flight is a long flight. We're trying to get a date for her to get on the podcast the next time she's in Florida.
Crazy idea.
Yeah.
Crazy idea.
Here
We go to Hawaii. We go to Hawaii. We do the show in
You're
Hawaii.
willing- you're willing to
take
do
it on
it?
the road.
You got great people around you.
Yeah.
They're willing to go to Hawaii for you, man.
If you go and interview, then
right,
we'll send you
Tulsi,
to
I'll
Hawaii.
see you in Hawaii. Dave
That's
Ruben,
an 11-hour flight.
But what is
If you
Tulsi
want
say?
to send me to Hawaii, I'll
You
do
wanna go to-
it
I'll
for
send
you.
you guys to
Special
Hawaii to
correspondent
go-
Dave Saz over
Yeah,
here.
you guys go to Hawaii and you interview Tulsi. That'd be great. But
What does she say when you question her about being a Democrat?
I don't want to say anything that we've talked about privately, but I think I can say it's obvious from her public statements that she's hanging on by a thread, that she's trying to hold a position that I think is an honorable position, that they're not all insane and that there could be a decent liberal left. I think that's what you're trying to say you are, or at least were. And and trust me, I'm a guy that my first book was a defense of liberalism. It doesn't work anymore. Trump, I kept making the argument, and trust me, it was not easy to come out as a Trump supporter, or it's just a stupid statement, a Trump supporter. I voted for Trump. Yes, I voted for a guy who was president. I was making the argument for a long time that Trump actually was defending liberalism and conservatism. It was obvious how he was defending conservatism. He believed in the free market. He was appointing conservative judges, things like that, obviously. But he was defending liberalism because, look, the guy, he had a freaking rainbow flag on stage with him before he was president. He was actually defending equality. Remember that moment at the State of the Union? I'm sure you guys saw it, when he talked about all-time low black and Hispanic unemployment. And the entire Congressional Black Caucus sat there like this and didn't applaud. He did not care about any of those things. He was actually trying to save both. You're never going to get a more liberal conservative. That's really the truth. He doesn't care. Remember his answer on the trans bathroom thing? They said to him, what do you think about trans bathrooms, when that was a big thing? He goes, I'm a builder. If you tell me I could build a hotel with one bathroom, you know how much I'm going to save? I would freaking love to do that. That's the right answer. That's the right answer. But they said he's a transphobe and he hates gays and he hates black men.
Well, what is going on with the whole trans thing these days? I don't know.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.